Howdy pards, Mr. Holster here, just having a little coffee in the tack room this morning. Before I get started on the topic of discussion this morning, I wanted to show you my Sig P220. If you watched my hard target range a couple weeks ago where I shot this, you'll know that the sight was way up too high, and I hadn't even noticed that. I bought that in February and had been sitting in the gun safe, and I took it out a couple times and fondled it, but hadn't shot it because I made a pact with myself I was not going to shoot this gun until I got the new shooting range done. Well, I got it done, so I shot it a couple weeks ago, and that sight was way high and was shooting way off. And here we go, I got it regulated. It's sighted in, guys. Just thought I'd show that to you. That's what it's supposed to look like. This is what we're talking about today. I'm going to talk about your system briefly because I'm going to do a series of videos on my Saturday gun chats in the next few weeks about my system and systems in general. Briefly, I'm going to talk about it because now's the time to work on your system because the prices on firearms are so cheap. There's such deals out there to be had. You can go out and grab all sorts of stuff. No, you need to go out there and back up your system. And if you don't have a system in place and haven't settled in on one sidearm, now's the time to figure out which one you shoot the best, because that's the one you should settle in on and get a system set up with it, because you need to have the sidearm you use. You need to have an additional sidearm just like it in case that is out of order and has to be repaired. You can go to the other and you immediately have a sidearm to use. And you need to have a backup in case that goes down. It's also nice to have a couple backups because if you get in a position where you can't get parts anymore, if the gun gets discontinued and they don't make the parts anymore, like my Sig P220, yeah, if you got backups, you can always cannibalize one of them and keep your guns running, if nothing else. But to keep from having to do that, I like to keep a lot of parts in stock on the firearms I have that are in my system. I can't do it on every firearm I have, but you know, you don't need to, because those are just range toys, or you use them for competitive shooting or whatever, and not your main competitive shooting gun. Obviously you should have parts for that, but whatever you're using these Sig P220s for, you see, and this is a disposable firearm as far as I'm concerned. If times get tough, I can let this go. This right here, however, is not disposable. This is something I'm gonna keep. This is the basis of my system, the Glock 19, 20, and 21. You see, so now's the time, if you don't have your system in place, is to find the firearm you shoot the best and put your system in place and back it up, because the prices are so good. And along with that, you want to have the parts you need to keep it running. And of course they vary with each gun. You need to find out which parts are most likely to break on the firearm you have, and those are the parts you certainly back up. I like to keep other parts too. Try to keep a good rounded selection of parts that I know that won't be able to be gotten if that gun is never made again and they don't make parts for it anymore. The Glock here, the parts that for sure need to be kept in stock on this and every semi-automatic is you got to have that guide rod springs. Depends if you've got a guide rod that's a captured one, you have to replace the whole unit, or you just can replace the spring, but you got to do that every 1,500 to 5,000 rounds depending upon the gun. So what I like to do, like this gun here, if I plan on having it for 30,000 rounds, and I'm going to change the guide rod every 5,000 rounds minimum, I want to have the minimum amount of springs and guide rods to replace and keep it running. And that means it comes with one, so I can knock 5,000 rounds off right there. I left with 25. I got to buy 5 guide rod springs for this baby right off the bat and put them in inventory. Well, that's kind of what we're going to talk about in our Saturday gun chat. We're going to be talking for the next 3 Saturdays about my system and putting a system in place, and that's part of what we're going to talk about. But I urge you right now to start working on your system, because prices aren't going to get any better, I'll guarantee you. They're going to go nowhere but up from here. there you go. Before I leave you, I've had a lot of people ask, and yes, Jack's back from SHOT Show, and he's doing great. And oh my gosh, the stories he was telling me last night at the VFW. I think we're going to have a great sock show this weekend on Saturday night on his channel at 7 p.m. Central. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Till next time, for Mr. Holster and Jack, go out and stay safe. Yeah, it's only 5 minutes and 30 seconds to your life you'll never get back again this morning.